Hello everyone, and today I will be talking about Drag Race's new cursed placement. For part 1 of this video, I will be explaining specifically what the curse is. For part 2, I will be talking about the various times this curse has appeared. Then for the third part of the video, I will be talking about why this placement specifically ended up being cursed as opposed to another. In my opinion, Drag Race's current cursed placement is 7th. The queens who fall victim to this curse typically do around average in the competition. They will usually get a few high placements, maybe even a win, but never more than that. Then in terms of bottom placements, they might end up there once or twice, but they are generally not the lip sync assassin. The final part of this curse, and the thing that makes it a curse, is the way they are eliminated. Every single queen who falls victim to this curse is eliminated in a very suspicious, often rigged way. Getting right into it, the first queen to ever suffer the 7th place curse is Sugarcane from Season 11. Sugarcane fits this bill perfectly. Season 11 had an incredibly top-heavy cast. Evie Oddly was in the top 7 times, and Brooke 9. Both of those are insane track records, and as a result of them taking up so many high placements outside of the Final 4 and Plastique, no queen placed in the top more than 3 times all season. Sugarcane was in the top for the acting challenge, the Snatch Game, and Drag Olympics. I wouldn't say she was ever close to winning one of these challenges, but the fact that she was able to shine at various points throughout the season is still pretty impressive. Then for bottom placements, Sugarcane had a bit of a struggle towards the beginning, being in the bottom for the Improv Challenge and the Ball, then found her footing for a few episodes before placing low in the final Improv Challenge of the season. All of this results in Sugarcane having a pretty even track record before going into the final 7 challenge of, I think, Dragacadabra is what they went with. It's a very weird pun. In the final 7 challenge, Suga is put on a team with Brooklyn Heights and Nina. She does an all-around solid job in the challenge, the judges are laughing at her, and while no one was winning this challenge over Nina, Suga was well on her way to a high placement. When we arrive at the judging, and for seemingly no reason, Sugarcane is given insanely harsh critiques, lands in the bottom with Miss Vanjie, and is eliminated in 7th. Was this elimination fair? No, but I think we have a pretty good idea of why Suga was sent home here. I think the main reason that Suga got screwed the way she was storyline. Looking at the rest of the final 7, Evie and Silky have a massive feud with each other. Brooke and Vanjie have their storyline, which leaves A'keria, Nina, and Suga. A'keria has been doing a great job in the competition and is giving consistently great confessionals. Then for Nina, she did a great job in the challenge and overall had been doing a lot better than Suga. Production decided for whatever reason that 7th place was the perfect time to get rid of Sugarcane, as she was the least narratively relevant queen of the season. The next victim of this twist is Widow Von'Du from Season 12. Unlike Sugarcane, who struggled at various points throughout the competition, Widow was doing an all-around good job prior to her last 2 episodes on the season. She was able to win episode 1, giving one of the most dominant premiere performances of all time. Then for the rest of her run, she was doing consistently good. I think she was a solid 2nd or 3rd in the acting challenge, definitely could have been in the top for the Rusical, and was all around fine. Then episode 8 rolls around, Widow does not do a great job in the challenge, she does not have a very distinct brand, and that kinda screws her over. She lands in the bottom and gets rid of Jan. Then we arrive at the final 7 challenge, and just like on season 11, everything goes horribly wrong. In terms of challenge performances, Jada, Crystal, and Heidi are a very clear top 3. That leaves us with Gigi Goode, Jackie Cox, Widow Von'Du, and the queen who shall not be named. Taking a look at the challenge, Gigi does a very basic robot and does bad on the runway. The queen who shall not be named does the old lady shtick that she's done like 4 times all season. Jackie Cox has one joke that she is actively being told not to do, and Widow Von'Du is fine. Looking at all 4 of these queens, Widow is very obviously the best in the challenge and second best on the runway. She should be safe, the queen who shall not be named should be low, and then Gigi and Jackie are in the bottom. Unfortunately for Widow though, just like with Sugarcane, she is not relevant to the plot of the season. Heidi, Jada, and Crystal are all gaining a lot of momentum at this point. And based off what we know, the Queen Who Shall Not Be Named and Gigi are having a massive feud that is looking to be the main storyline of the season. Unfortunately for Jackie and Widow, that leaves them as the odd two queens out and the bottom two. They lip sync to Firework, and while Jackie does win this lip sync, Widow should never have been in the bottom. Just like Suga, the only reason that Widow was eliminated is because she did not fit into any of the major storylines of the season. The third queen to fall victim to this twist is Tina Burner from season 13. In terms of Tina's good performances, she did a great job in the Discomentary and the Rusical, and was just all around fine in most challenges. Then for weaker performances, she very much struggled in the look department, and then her girl groups was kind of a mess. All around, there really isn't much to say about Tina, as we saw very little of her in the edit, and then in terms of the curse, she fits the mold almost too well. We arrive at the final 7 challenge. The clear bottom 3 are Gottmik, Tina, and Utica, and based off runways, they're all relatively even, so it really should be coming down to performance. In the challenge, all 3 of these queens' commercials were insanely repetitive to the point that it is sometimes uncomfortable to watch, but in terms of a ranking, I would put Tina first, Gottmik second, and Utica third. Factoring that in, bottom 2 should be Gottmik and Utica, with Gottmik going home. Unfortunately for Tina, Gottmik is the narrator of the season and has a lot of storyline with multiple queens, so for those reasons and the fact that Tina was one of the 2 queens left without a win, she is thrown in the bottom with Utica, loses the lip sync, and is eliminated in 7th place. On season 14, the curse would technically occur again, depending on how you look at things. Due to the needless double elimination of Deja Sky and Gorgeous, there is technically no queen who plays 7th and is eligible for the curse, but factoring in the end of the season, I will be including Deja on this list as she fits every other requirement for the 7th place curse. I've already talked about Deja's run in my video on the mistreatment of Deja, but to briefly summarize it, she was in the top a few times throughout the season. She did a great job in the hosting challenge and almost definitely should have won. She dominated the Snatch game and was all around an underrated competitor who was very much keeping pace with a lot of the contenders for the crown for a lot of the season. Then for Deja's weaker performances, she did not do a great job in the talent show, so I do agree with that bottom. Then we have 2 incredibly unnecessary low placements in the design challenge and Rusical. I'm not going to get into the mistreatment of Deja again, but all around, Deja was kind of treated as a punching bag for production, and as a result of that was one of the least narratively important queens of the season, which would completely screw her over in the second final 7 challenge of the roast. We have an obvious top 4 of Angie, Bosco, Camden, and Willow, and then an obvious bottom 3 of Daya, Deja, and Gorgeous. Factoring in performances and runways, Deja was the only one to tell a funny joke throughout the entire set, and in my opinion, very obviously should have been low. Unfortunately for Deja and Gorgeous though, due to the edit, Diabetes was one of the main characters of the season, and due to their mistakes earlier in the season, production has to eliminate 2 queens here, which unfortunately had to be Deja and Gorgeous. In season 15, we get a very light example of the curse in Marcia. She was generally solid throughout the competition. I think her talent show and Snatch Game and acting challenge were very good. Then she had some weaker performances in episodes like the Improv Challenge. At the final 7, she is completely on her own in the challenge while everyone else is in a team, and while there definitely is an argument for her to be low and Anitra and Sasha in the bottom, I will not officially say that this is a victim of the curse, but depending on the way you look at it, maybe could have been if she had done a bit better in the challenge and Sasha had done a bit worse. The final queen to fall victim to this curse at the time of filming is Maya Iman LePage from season 16. On season 16, Maya was either very close to the record or beat the record of most bottom 3 placements ever, but on the weeks she was able to do well, she did an all-around good job. Her talent show was incredibly fun and incredibly underrated, her girl group's performance was very good, and then her Snatch Game was unexpectedly great. Outside of those few weeks though, Maya was not really able to shine. She was low in episodes 3 and 4, then placed in the bottom for the Design Challenge, Rusical, and then second Design Challenge. As a result of this, going into the second Final 7 challenge of Improv, she has by far the worst track record. Regardless of how the judging turns out for Q, Plain Jane, Saphira, and Nymphia, we have a very obvious bottom 3 here of Dawn, Maya, and Morphine. Looking at runways, neither one of these queens was really able to shine, which means it comes down to challenge performance. Looking at teams, Dawn and Maya are the obvious bottom two, and looking at performances, I would argue that it is still Maya and Dawn. It is my opinion that in this episode, the format of the judging was shifted to put Dawn as low so that Morphine could get rid of Maya. If this challenge was judged even remotely in teams, Morphine would have been low with a bottom two of Maya and Dawn lip-syncing to Dim All the Lights. Based off the various other lip-sync performances from both Dawn and Maya this season, I think it is very safe to say that even though it was Maya's 4th time in the bottom, Dawn would be going home here and then Maya would probably go out in 6th. Overall, 6th versus 7th is not too much of a difference, but it is yet another example of production throwing someone under the bus and getting rid of them in 7th place just because they are not as relevant to the plot of the season as someone else. Overall, I hope I made a solid case for the existence of this curse, but now for the final question, why 7th place of all placements? In my planning for this video, I was only able to come up with one possible explanation. 7th place is usually the cutoff between the middle of the season and the ending. In most seasons without an insane amount of non-eliminations, following the final 7 challenge, there will be either 2 or 3 episodes left. That gives production the perfect amount of time to tie up loose ends, finish up all their storylines, and get to the finalists that they want. In addition to that, based off the curse, this is almost always the placement where production tries to take out the trash, with the trash referring to the queen with the least narrative importance on the season. Do you want non-Emmy nominated gay shit? Well then you should check out the RuPaul's Drag Race Rejudged YouTube channel and hit subscribe.